Okay, let's start in a seated position. We're going to do 5 breaths. Focus, really just bring in attention to the ribs. So when you're ready on the inhale, let's focus on the front ribs. Feel them expand. Big exhale, feel the front ribs collapse. Next inhale, we're going to focus on the side ribs expanding. And then big exhale. Then we're going to focus on the back ribs, really puffing out on the inhale. Big exhale. And then the next 2 breaths, big inhale, 360, all the way around the rib cage. Yep, one more like that, as big as you can with the ribs. And then just settle in to the natural rhythm of your breath for a few. Just letting yourself get real present. Okay, then we're just going to come into the side stretch. So the block can go into the right hand or the left hand. And then, yep, just reaching over. Opposite side. And again, focusing on the ribs, expanding that 360. Making any little micro adjustments. And then, yep, second side. Imagining opening the intercostals, the muscles in between the ribs. And back up to center, kind of readjust, make any little movements. Then let's just take the twist over to the right. Yep, letting the ribs expand. Just imagine even the back of the ribs. Yep, second side. Back to the first side when you're ready. Just a nice breath here, feeling like the shoulders are relaxing. Let's reach the right arm back. And then overhead, the right arm overhead to the outside of the left knee. And then fold. Breath into the ribs, front, side, and the back of the ribs, big breaths. And then just gently releasing. And let's just inhale, reach up. And then exhale, release. Second side, twisting over to the left. And then reach it over. Real big reach and fold. Yep, gently come out, let's reach up. And then exhale, cactus, goalpost. And then just one more time, inhale, reach up. And then exhale, release. Can cat-cow here a little bit. And then let's remove the blocks. And you can use the blanket, but come into our table and then cat-cow here. Maybe finding our table and doing that 5-part breath even, or the 360 breath. Letting the ribs and the muscles between the ribs open up. Yep, you can barrel roll, kind of move the hips over the shoulders. Any way that makes sense. Figure eights. And then from here, we're just gonna plant the left hand, right hand behind the head. Inhale, elbow up, and then we're gonna try to exhale, tap the elbow to the hand. And then inhale up. 3 times like that. And then on the last one, we'll just come into that thread the needle. Ribs expanding. Lumbar curve looks awesome. Yep, big breaths. Yep. Making your way, moving through, in between, going to the second side, elbow taps, getting the core. Just taking it. Yeah, so it's back behind the head. Yep.
Are you ready for that?
Yep, inhale, big, and then exhale, try to tap it. Yeah. Yep, so open thoracic rotation, squeezing belly button to the spine. Yep. This big movement feels good. And then squeezing all the way, yep. And now taking our twist. So imagine the scapula coming together a little bit more. Yep. And then ribs, real big ribs, all the way. Big breaths. Yep. Yep, gently coming out of that. Here, let's just walk our hands forward, wide as possible, fingertips are wide. So this is our down dog arms, puppy pose. Yep. If you could gaze forward a little bit, see how that goes. Extend out. Yep, big breaths through the ribs, all the way around the ribs. Just whatever feels good on that nice big stretch and activation through the upper body. Then you can back off as much as you need to, but let's just kind of walk the hands over to one side for the side stretch. Yep. So rune down through that left knee, stretching all the way from the hip, armpit. Big rib cage breaths. Taking the second side one, yep. Excellent. Fantastic, back to center, kind of move, and eventually, whatever makes sense, let's make our way up to the stand forward fold. However, it feels good to get there. Yep. And then just, move, get used to your feet being on the ground now. Bend and straighten your legs. Yep, move side to side. Nice and easy. We'll eventually make our way up to standing. Terrific. So we'll just bring that awareness. Let's go ahead and do the 5-part breath, 5-breath exercise. Hands can be on the ribs or they can be anywhere. Eyes could be closed or focused on one point, but we're gonna bring the awareness all the way to the rib cage. So big inhale. When you're ready, we're gonna focus on the front of the ribs, expanding as big as they can, and then collapsing massive on the exhale. Then the side of the ribs, real big. Then collapse on the exhale. Third breath will go back of the ribs, big expansion. Feel it all the way. And then collapse. Then we'll go 360 for the last two breaths. So all the way around, big inhale. Collapses all the way. Terrific. So bringing that awareness to these poses. When you're ready, we'll just release that. Inhale, arms overhead. And then take the side stretch to the right. Yep. So as long as the breath's moving freely, arms can be anywhere, but ground down through the left foot and then letting the ribs peel open. Kind of inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take it a little further if that feels good. Gaze can be up or down. And then inhale back up to center. And then exhale when you're ready, second side. Or, yeah, however you want to go. But eventually making our way, reaching over to the left. Ribs expand. Then from here, we're going to come back up to center. Feet are planted, ribs are nice and in control. Inhale, and then exhale, open up to the right. Inhale, center, and then exhale, open it up to the left. Nice big inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Yep, long spine. We'll plant the hands, and then just step back to the top of a plank push-up. So even in this position, go ahead and set it up from your feet. Legs are engaged, quads are engaged. Scapula's on the back, belly button's in. Then try to imagine the ribs really, even if you kind of have to push your way in here, then your ribs are still expanding and opening up. Even heart's opening up here. And then if you want, you can lower all the way down. And then release, kind of extend out. And let's just lift up the feet and the hands for a little locust. And then exhale, release. And we'll extend the arms and the legs. Yep, nice and long. And we'll just lift the right arm and left leg. And then release. You got it. Second side. Excellent. One more each side. Yep, hands can come near your sides. Gentle back bend, and eventually downward facing dog. Yep, so wiggle around, pedal the feet, move any way. And then we'll just go ahead and inhale the right leg up. Really extend, and we'll just do one core lunge, so right knee to right elbow. Next inhale, extend, and then exhale, we're going to step through, bring the back knee down. Find length here, even expand the ribs in a couple breaths, extending the spine, and then we'll come up. And with the block handy, we'll take the side stretch on both sides. When I've been experimenting with this and focusing on it, I feel like my heart opens up. Like sometimes it's hard to open up to what's happening. But the breath does just ground us into the strength, the peace. Yep, so just switching sides. And then taking as long as we need over here. And eventually, let's go ahead and twist it open, big twist to the right. Yeah, with the ribs. Couple big breaths. And it's a physiological thing, like, you know, extending the exhale, even just focusing on that, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So the breath is our best BFF, is what I said to the class that I taught the other day. So let's come back. You can go downward facing dog. If you wanted to move through a flow, you can. Pedal it out, and eventually we'll go left leg up. Really extending and then tapping the left knee, left elbow. And then extending, coming through to the low lunge. You know, the deal, ribs are really the main focus, but the side stretch to the twist. Excellent. You got it. Squirrel fight. Yep, coming back to center. Can reach up, downward facing dog. Move. We could come forward to plank. Just gonna take the heels to the left, and we'll just take our side plank. Big breath in the ribs here, letting it feel easy. Next exhale, back to plank, nice and controlled. And then second side. Oh, I forgot the music. Oh, but we're doing that, so that's why. Yep. And then either through the vinyasa with the lower, or you can go downward facing dog, your option. And here we go, right leg up. Exhale, we'll just come through to the warrior two. And you know, everything else, we've already, here's the focus with the ribs. And we're gonna, left hand can go anywhere, but we're gonna go palm up, really trying to reach to the ceiling, and then high five the back of the room into the reverse warrior. Big breaths here. And let's come back into warrior two. And then reach forward. Ceiling, again, high five the back to the reverse warrior. One more time, warrior two. And then one more time, reverse warrior, really big as you possibly can, all the way through the ribs, even the left side ribs. Then we're gonna tee the arms, take it all the way to our extended side angle. It can go on the thigh, or we can kind of use the elbow. But whatever we need to do with the breath, with the ribs. If you want to focus 360, this is the peak pose. All right, one more time, just reverse. You can straighten the leg just to kind of stretch all of that. And then cartwheel, plant the hands. And then plank pose, vinyasa or downward facing dog. We'll go left leg up on the inhale. Warrior two, step through. So even if we know what's coming, can we still just let the ribs expand and be nice and open, or will we think we know it's coming? So finding that one focus always helps. That one little leaf or whatever thing. We're gonna flip the front palm. Yep. When you're ready, back into warrior two. Yep, you got it. We're doing this 3 times. Eventually making our way into that extended side ankle.
Where am I going now?
This one, yep, tee it in, either here, yeah, extended side angle. So let's see if we can get that left kneecap toward, a little more towards me. Yep, there we go. Now the ribs. Even if it helps to bring the scapula a little, imagine the scapula coming a little closer. Yep, peak pose, so really full expression here. And then maintaining those big full breaths when we're at the limit, at the top. And then when you're ready, we'll go reverse triangle. And then big exhale, windmill, step through a vinyasa or downward facing dog. Okay, yep. Things are moving around. We'll stabilize, hold the scapula, inhale the right leg up. And then we'll come into our warrior two. Just for a couple breaths. Yep, so warrior two here. And then we'll just straighten the legs, turn towards the side, extend up, and make our way into a wide leg forward fold. Any version. You got it, like the whole expansion of the rib cage. And the ribs kind of move up and down actually like bucket handles, but just as big as possible. Imagine the lungs expanding. Yep, and you can either kind of leave your hands there or you can use a block, but just planting one hand right in front of the face. And then like it's a bow coming into the twist. Yep, extending the spine. So from the sacrum all the way through the crown of the head. And then imagine the scapula coming together with those big, deep breaths. When you're ready on the exhale, we'll fold it in. And then halfway lift, wiggle around, and eventually making our way to the second side. Yep. Yep. Fold it in. Yep, and we'll just walk our hands over to the feet, come into this low lunge position here. Just stretch out, extend spine in two directions, big expansion of the ribs, and then eventually back to downward facing dog. And we'll inhale the left leg up and exhale, stepping through to warrior two. So it's a really strong pose because the energy is coming up the legs, but it's also kind of vulnerable. And there has to be a little bit of vulnerability. This is my card for the day. You probably saw it on the mirror. But vulnerability is a strength. So being open, so ribs, expanding, opening the heart, but knowing that we have all this strength. So then we'll just straighten the leg, big exhale, forward fold. And then we're gonna push through the feet, come all the way up. And then, turn the heels in, toes out, our goddess pose. So we're really trying to drive the knees back. Paying attention to all the little areas we need to. Arms can go up. And let's try to sit a little lower. Ribs expanding. Let's goalpost the arms or cactus. And then we'll go ahead and tap the left elbow to the left thigh. Back up to center. And then second side. Really seeing if those ribs can expand. One more time each side. So here, hands can go anywhere. They can go with the heart. Let's sit a little lower. Push through the feet. We'll straighten the legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, big forward fold. Straighten the toes. Widen out the heels. And then let's walk when we're ready, hands over to the left foot. Extend out, big ribcage breaths. And then step back to our downward facing dog. Okay, one more standing series. Getting the most out of it here. And we'll inhale the right leg up. Exhale, let's just step through, press up into our lunge. So very athletic position. Do all that we need to do, but then really just ribs. Arms can go anywhere, really just grounded, and then trusting our ability to expand into this. We'll go, next exhale, hands to the center of the chest. And we're gonna just turn, we can bend the left knee, but we'll turn to the wall. And we can extend, tee out the arms if that feels okay. Big breaths in the ribs. Let's go left palm to the ceiling. Try to touch the ceiling, stay here. Right leg on the back of the left thigh. Go back to our crescent lunge, inhale. And then exhale, low lunge. Extend, and we'll just go left hand down, right arm up. Next exhale, we'll fold it in, step back to plank, and then a vinyasa or just downward facing dog. You got it. Left leg up, stepping it through. Just going right for our crescent lunge. Main focus is our ribs expanding, our breath, our heart. Coming, hands to center of your chest. Eventually coming into the twist. Any adjustments? And then our reverse. Back to crescent. Really lift it up. Big exhale. And then just taking a nice, easy twist. Next big exhale, we'll just fold it in, step back, vinyasa or downward facing dog. Yep. So last downward dog. Any kind of movements that you want to take here. Let's even just kind of come to plank and then go right hand, left ankle, back to plank, and then second side. Then we'll come to plank, and let's just nice and controlled lower all the way. All right, here's another way. We're gonna come into our Sphinx pose. So ideally elbows underneath the shoulders, legs. As long as there's a little bit of, maybe the kneecaps are lifted, but we know they're there. Hands out, pushing the forearms down, and then kind of chest comes through. Belly is not too soggy, but kind of like a little tension. And let's do those 5 breaths here. So front of the ribs, then side, and then back. Any order, and then 2 360s with attention, paying attention to our areas that need to be aware of, we need to be aware of. Our weak points. Whenever those are finished and you're complete, we're just going to release and stretch out and kind of turn one side, whichever way the neck is, and then we'll take the nice and easy, no rush though. Just a little stretch, kind of twist. Ribs really expanding. And if the scapula can come on the back, nice and long, from the heel to the crown of the head. And then just second side, when it's a good time. Yep. Gently release, kind of whatever might feel good. And then we're going to make our way to a supported bridge. Feel the spine and the ribs, yep, and the shoulders. Maybe just take 1 or 2 of those 360 breaths, or even just focusing on the back ribs, pressing into the floor. Take a block. Any setting, we're going to do a supported bridge. And if you want, you can reach your arms overhead, as long as we have that curve, and then the ribs, big ribs breath here. You can even drive the knees forward and imagine the spine lengthening and the ribs expanding. Yep, with each breath, we're creating space. And then finding the freedom in the space. A few more here. And moving the block. Then we're going to move into a supine twist. If you want, we can bring the left foot in across the legs to our eagle legs. Push through the foot, lift the hips, and let the knees fall to the left. Arms can go anywhere. We're just paying attention, trying to get both shoulders on the mat. And if it's too much, you can uncross your legs. But 3 to 5 of those big rib breaths. Letting yourself feel where you're expanding on the inhale. And then maybe releasing on the exhale. Yep, taking the second side in your own time. Yep, back to center. Kind of rebound for a second.